Alright, let's big bang this video into existence and take a look at a world portrayed within media.
Let's go.
Alright, something I like to do is to take a look at a world portrayed within a series of media like movies and TV shows and so forth, and sometimes do whatever I can to compare it to the parallel universe portrayed in an entirely different series. Right now, let's jump to the world, a world portrayed in media.
Now entering glory hole.
Yeah, we're jumping to one of the realms portrayed within media, although this time we're going to be looking at Ghostbusters, a little piece of the Ghostbusters universe. A P.K.E. meter as portrayed by Spirit Halloween. One of the things I like to do is, if there's something in the Ghostbusters universe, I not only like to talk about it, but I like to compare it to something from Star Wars or Star Trek that might be similar. If Ghostbusters existed in the same universe as Star Trek, it would be the ancestor to the tricorder. In Ghostbusters mythos, the Pke meter would have been probably the first piece of ghost-busting equipment produced by Egon Spengler, possibly with the help of Ray Stantz. And thus it would predate the proton pack. And the proton pack could be considered to be similar to the primitive blasters of Star Wars, particle beam weapons, And the blasters of Star Wars could be comparable to the phase pistols of Star Trek Enterprise, and a little more sophisticated than that is the phaser. But, Star Trek, Star Wars, Ghostbusters, they're all different universes, but they have similarities, and this time I'm looking at a little piece of Ghostbusters as portrayed by Spirit Halloween. It's a little bit of a, kind of like an unboxing, though it's technically more of an unpackaging, so watch me awkwardly ramble about this interesting little item that I recently purchased from Spirit Halloween, and this video was recorded in 2018, but I'm only now editing it in 2019. But I'm dating the video 2018 based on the main part of the video, which, yeah, stay tuned, it's coming right up now. Hello everybody, I'm Joey, and I'm going to do an unboxing video. Well, it's actually going to be a little bit more of an unpackaging video, and I plan to upload this video just about everywhere I can. So, maybe even Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, watching this on Instagram, well, you'll get you get a minute. You'll get a minute. And then the rest of it will be places like YouTube, DTube, DLive, and BitChute. But I once upon a time uploaded a video where I unboxed a phase pistol, which is kind of like a predecessor to the phaser in Star Trek mythos. Technically a different weapon, especially when you consider how it's actually, the actual details that are given on how the beam is actually created. Yeah, it's a very different weapon, but yet similar. And then there was the unboxing, not only unboxing of phase pistols, including the Art Asylum phase pistol I just showed there, but the proton pack. The proton pack. The proton pack. And, the proton pack. And, of course, it's a particle beam weapon from Ghostbusters. And actually, if you read the technical manuals from the old expanded universe of Star Wars, something similar to a backpack-powered blaster weapon was like the early blasters. So, simplistic, science fiction-y, particle beam technology. But here from Spirit Halloween, the same company that made that proton pack, pretty cool bag. Pretty cool packaging, except you consider the fact it's not really protecting what's inside the package very well. That kind of concerned me a little bit. I have not yet unpackaged this, but from Spirit Halloween, check it out. Yeah, it's cool packaging. Yeah, it looks cool anyway. From Spirit Halloween, we have something that in the category of science fiction and fantasy universes would predate the proton pack, so something even more. If a proton pack and a phase pistol and a phaser could all exist in the same universe, the proton pack would be the more simplistic, earlier technology, if they could all exist in the same universe. And this is something that would predate the proton pack. And Ghostbusters technology, and I'm just going to kind of rip the bag right here and open it up. What did I get from Spirit Halloween? It's, well, there's a good chance that if you're watching this video, you've already seen the title. Well, anyway, here we go. What did I get? What did I get? It's the Pke Meter. The Ghostbusters technology so original, at least to their continuity, that they had it before they made a ghost trap or a proton pack. And there we go. Oh, this way? This way? Yeah, well, no, actually it was. Yeah, no, it actually goes this way. Yeah, here we go. And, yeah, I think it had a rough ride in that bag traveling in the mail, because this is bent and already opened here. So I see where I'm going to open the package. And you must, yeah, all right. It says try me. Okay, so if I press here, where it says try me, nothing happens. Yay. Yeah. Yeah, I really think this should have had a more protective packaging for going in the mail. Let's see. Oh, I just pulled out this tab here, so maybe now I can try it. Yeah, there we go. It's not even out of the package yet, and there we go. Just had to pull this tab out of it. All right. All right. Yeah, anyway. All right, so what do I do now? All right, I take this the rest of the way out of the box. All right, I've unpackaged or unboxed the Pke meter. Yeah. All right. So this would be what the Ghostbusters would use to detect psychokinetic energy, because it picks up energy fluctuations that, you know, it's tuned specifically to whatever works with ghosts and ectoplasm and psychokinetic energy. This, in the mythos of Ghostbusters, was like the first thing Egon Spengler ever built in the category of ghost-busting equipment, or at least it predates the Proton Pack and Ghost Trap. That's been discussed in the Ghostbusters, a frightfully cheerful role-playing game, and even those IDW comics that I'm kind of ambivalent towards indicated that Egon, with the help of Ray, developed it while looking for a supernaturally special book. But anyway. Yeah, this is a pretty cool prop, anyway. There we go. There we go. But yeah, so in the mythos of Ghostbusters, this is a detection device that predates the Proton Pack. So in the category of things I've unboxed, and you know, this is probably the most primitive science fiction-y, if you'll consider Ghostbusters science fiction, primitive science fiction novelty I've unboxed. And it's from Spirit Halloween, and so far it's looking pretty cool. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I'm not really centered very well for discussing this thing. But yeah, in the mythos of Ghostbusters, I prefer the mythos that lines up with the real Ghostbusters animated series more than the IDW comics. But you know, this is a primitive detection device that existed in Ghostbusters. Yeah, I kind of like, you know, the science fiction-y stuff, like the Proton Pack. The Proton Pack I find kind of interesting because the decals on it are actually, they actually thought of how something like this would work, because this would actually be a hydrogen tank here that stores hydrogen, which gets, I don't know, charged up somehow. But it gets injected into the cyclotron here. There's like hydrogen injectors here. That's what this is supposed to be. And this is the actual decals that were supposedly on the original prop that aren't close enough for you to see in the movie. So they were actually thinking, how can we make a proton beam? Would we use radioactive decay? Well, no, just strip the electrons off of some hydrogen atoms. So it basically creates hydrogen plasma, and then makes the positively charged part of the plasma available to the particle thrower. And I mean, except for the fact you need some pretty powerful batteries to run the damn thing, that's actually a pretty workable idea for a science fiction-y ray gun that is powered by a backpack. And I always assumed that the phase pistols from Star Trek Enterprise, which the description of them clearly indicate that they predate the phaser, because in the description of them, phase modulation and phase energy rectification are not the same thing. There's no reference to nadion particles in this or anything like that. You know, I basically assume that the idea behind this is something that generates plasma and then converts the plasma into a particle beam. And battery's dead. But this was a pretty cool little Halloween prop. Well, actually, no, this wasn't Halloween. This was an outright collectible toy thing. You know, that pretty cool. The sun setting and the kill setting. Basically, the safely not likely to kill anybody setting, and then the higher energy discharge setting. But no, I love these little things. If it's from a movie or a science fiction show that I really liked, and this is like the Ghostbusters thing that predates everything. You know, to me that's pretty cool. I mean, you could compare like the EM-33 or whatever it was called, the predecessor to the phase pistol, as some sort of electromagnetically charged plasma bolt weapon that's kind of comparable to the turbo lasers and blasters of Star Wars. And Star Wars actually, at least in the older expanded universe stuff, stop picking at that chair. One of the cats is picking at something. Don't do that. Don't do that. He did it. Anyway, I like that idea that, you know, when science fiction source books reference things, they're kind of comparable. That, like, the Star Wars turbo lasers and blasters are basically particle beam bolts that are created from turning gas into plasma, and, yeah, so forth. And that there was references in some of those Star Wars expanded universe stuff, like the old expanded universe, that's now the Legends universe, that referenced like early blasters actually having a backpack like the Ghostbusters proton pack. And, you know, I just like that. And here we have something that would be more primitive than a tricorder or a scanner in Star Trek Enterprise. Not from remotely the same universe, but, you know, another universe that uses science fiction and fantasy concepts, because the ghosts in Ghostbusters actually aren't all that farly removed, not all that far removed from the energy-based life forms of Star Trek. Yeah, but here you have it. Here you have it. The Pke Meter. Something that in the mythos of Ghostbusters is so fundamental that it predates the events of the movie. And, yeah, that's pretty cool. And, in fact, if you get the Haynes manual for the Ecto-1, it'll actually reference that this was made by Egon Spengler using an old shoe polisher. I think it was the Iona SP1, but I could have that SP1 part wrong. Some sort of Iona. I think that's the name of it. The Iona shoe polisher. And, yeah, that's kind of cool that the body of it used to be a shoe polisher. And, yeah, not sure what else to say about it other than that. There's a great origin for the device referenced in the Haynes manual for the Ecto-1, which is an actual book. I also recommend the Ghostbusters, a frightfully cheerful role-playing game. My favorite model of Pke Meter is the one featured in the Real Ghostbusters animated series, one of which can actually be seen on a laboratory bench in the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 Ghostbusters video game, which, as far as I'm concerned, should be canonical, as well as many episodes of the animated series. It would be good if they make an official timeline that included some of that stuff. But this is I like this prop. I like this prop. I like this. This is cool. Yeah, this is a cool little Halloween novelty gadget. Anyway, yeah, that's enough fun with the Iona shoe polisher. Well, whatever. Okay, yeah, I'm doing it again. Here it is one more time. There we go. Yeah. Alright, so that's about all there is for me to say about any of this stuff, and here I am in this room of a bunch of stuff all scattered around, unboxing some Spirit Halloween goodness. It is the Pke Meter. Yeah. What do you think of it? You're such a good little kitty cat. How about you? What do you think of the Pke Meter? You don't know what to think of it. Alright, that's enough of that. Yeah, that's enough of that. That's enough. That's enough fun with novelties. Time to end this video. Alright. For real. Alright. Well, there we go. You know, I might not have noticed, but most of the times that I pointed the Pke Meter at the cats, most of them weren't on frame, but one of the cats was. But I think you figured out that I was interacting with a pet that is off screen, and it was cats. There were a bunch of cats in the room. Most of them were not on screen. Anyway, there I am. There's the Spirit Halloween Pke Meter. Hopefully you found some entertainment in me rambling on about this. In addition to looking at this Spirit Halloween Pke Meter, I have recorded other videos, and one of the things that I find mildly interesting is just how the origins of certain things are portrayed. For example, something I find interesting is like playing the Ghostbusters video games, such as the one on the Commodore 64 or the Sega Master System, and how you can actually purchase equipment like the Pke Meter. In stuff like that, I always assume that what's really supposed to be portrayed is you're buying the equipment to build the equipment. You know, I didn't really like how they portrayed that you outright buy pre-made Ghostbusters equipment. So I assume that if you buy Pke Meter in the game, you're buying the equipment to build a Pke Meter, and they just show it as such for convenience. You know, because the Ghostbusters really should invent their own equipment. That's just one little Pke Meter related thought that I had, because I like talking about Ghostbusters related materials, and of course any excuse to mention the old video game makes me happy. But yeah, that was the Pke Meter, and a year before this I unboxed the Ghostbusters Proton Pack, also by Spirit Halloween, which I really like. For the price, it's a pretty good looking Ghostbusters prop. And of course I did some videos. I recorded myself unboxing some stuff related to phase pistols, including a video I made on the Art Asylum phase pistol, which is pretty cool as well too. And yeah, I like talking about Ghostbusters. I like talking about Star Trek, especially Star Trek Enterprise, also Star Trek The Next Generation, and Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Anyway, you can feel free to look for more of my videos where I talk about other things. and I try to do videos somewhat regularly for Halloween. And of course, this is kind of a Halloween video. I do a lot of videos talking about video games and science fiction, and sometimes even comic books come up. And if you found this video entertaining enough to stick through it this long, perhaps you'll consider checking out some more of my stuff. You know, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't always ramble this awkwardly, but sometimes I do. You know, it might be better, it might be worse. Feel free to stick around and check out some of those videos. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. And you can look for my videos various places on YouTube, BitChute, DTube, and probably some other places as well.